The Spurs did a fleece again. And the Bulls got fleeced again. Nothing new here in the NBA sphere, you know. The Spurs basically got rid of DeJounte Murray and now got to keep all their picks from the DeJounte Murray trade. The Bulls basically only got one pick. And we have somehow taken guys that I don't even think will last on our roster for the end of the year, except maybe Zach Collins, because we're probably trading Vooch. Today, guys, we are going to be talking about another blockbuster trade. Obviously, not as big as Luka, but this involves my Bulls, and I've got a lot to say, man. So, the first thing we're going to talk about is what the Spurs did here. Basically, they got to keep every and all of their young assets. I guess minus City Sissoko. I apologize if that's a butchery of the name. Because this 2025 Charlotte pick, basically, the Kings got 2 first-rounders, which is the Spurs and then the Minnesota one. And they have 5 second-rounders. Because this Charlotte pick is going to become 2 second-rounders because, again, this is top 14 protected, so they're going to be safe. They're not going to lose that pick. This pick has been traded around all over the place because, again, it holds really no value. And basically, I understand what the Spurs did. This makes perfect sense. You got a running mate for Wemby. The Kings is like, okay, you're retooling, I guess. I don't really think this team is good enough to win anything. I would argue that Lavine is probably a better fit just because he would give you that floor spacing that you lose when you added DeRozan, right? And, you know, Keegan Murray's been an absolute brick. And again, you got rid of Kevin Huerter, who hasn't been shooting well. Again, you're okay. Like, they'll probably stay around the play-in. They'll probably get into the play-in, might edge out the Warriors. You know, who knows? They'll probably be in around that range. The Spurs basically got a future. They said, Fox, you're going to be our running mate with Wemby for the next at least like 2 to 3 years. I don't know if they're going to sign him to a full contract extension like that. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. But I do think that this team has ultimately decided on, we at least got a guy for now that we can get and see how good Wemby really is when we can get him somewhere deeper than just the lottery. And then the Bulls. This is where I get my rant. What the hell are you doing? This is the second time we have basically handed the Kings a player for so little in return. The only thing I'm even remotely happy about is we got our own 2025 first rounder back. So now we can just stink and get a chance at Cooper Flag, I guess. But even then, now it might be too little too late. We're almost 45 games into the season. Like, at some point, man, this is ridiculous. We waited too long. Here's the thing, too. We could have waited because that report about Jimmy came out that he wasn't going to re-sign with the Warriors. So at that point, the Bulls could have been like, we got Zach Lavine. You want to give us some young picks and some picks? You know, some first-round picks and some young talent? But nope. We instead basically said, you know what, Kings? We'll help you guys extend your timeline just a little bit longer, and we'll just take 1 first-rounder. And a bunch of guys that aren't going to say, like, I like Trey Jones. I made a video on him. Don't really think, again, it's another freaking point guard on our already 6 point guard lineup. Still have Kevin Huerter, right? We're going to get into what the Kings and the Spurs really got now. But this is ridiculous by Chicago Bulls. I'm tired of this nonsense. Why do we keep giving away our talent for so little, but we invest so much for so little in return? We lost Franz Wagner for this Vucevic trade, right? Now, in the moment, I can't even get mad at him because we didn't know that Franz was going to be this player. Vucevic was having the years of his career. But damn, man. You didn't know when to pull the plug? We gave up Caruso for Giddey straight up. Didn't get any picks. When teams like the Warriors were willing to give us picks. Don't know why we just did that, young swap. Makes no sense to me. I have no issue with committing to a rebuild. I think we should have been done that. But we are rebuilding in a snail's pace. Like, we don't have really any young talent that we can look at and 100% like put all our money in, chips in. This guy's going to be our guy. We don't have that. I don't know what the hell we think we're doing, but we're not going to make it easier. But either way, man, let me get done with this ridiculousness my Bulls did. And let's get into what the Kings and the Spurs really just picked up. I think the big thing you're obviously getting with Zach Lavine is shooting. I think that now they have a way better floor spacing, the Kings, right? Because you hope that Keegan Murray can kind of get his shot back. But even if he doesn't, you got Zach Lavine who could be a spark plug, kind of, help stretch a team out, pause. But it helps guys like Sabonis and DeRozan, right, who like to play inside the arc way more, to be able to attack. And now the Kings aren't as concerned about that. Now, again, I love Zach Lavine, right? He's done awesome things with my team. I've had great moments with him. But I don't really know if, it's a upgraded Bulls team. They're unironically the Sacramento Bulls. Or the Chicago Kings, however you want to call it. We basically they have a far, far better center, right? Sabonis obviously just significantly better than Vucevic. They got Zach Lavine back. They have Malik Monk, who's basically like our Kobe White, but better. Obviously, he's better than Kobe White. And then they have Keegan Murray as the Patrick Williams. And then you still have DeRozan and Lavine. So now we've basically helped the Kings at least extend something of a timeline, which I don't necessarily have a problem with if we got any capital back, but we didn't get anything. Like, Sacramento, you're the one that wants to stay in competitive, conversations. We want to pick for you to help stay in competitive conversations. I don't understand why that's so obscene, right? And again, this Kings team, I love that they got spacing. I think that they're going to shoot the three ball more now. Now, whether or not that actually translates into anything is a different conversation altogether. But again, I think this team now is basically solidified. They'll probably be in the play-in. Probably first round out. Unless they got really lucky and the Rockets got injured, God forbid, or the Grizzlies get hurt, God forbid. I think at that point, maybe the Kings can sneak into a second round. But otherwise, get the brooms out. This team maybe will steal one game because Zach Lavine might just go absolutely stupid. But I don't understand it from their perspective, right? They get the spacing, they get the shooters, and of course the Bulls get absolutely little to nothing in return, which is the classic Chicago Bulls move. But now let's get into why the Spurs just absolutely robbed everybody in the dead of night. And basically they just said, nah, you guys are good with what we got. You don't need more from us. And they just went, yeah, you're right. We're good. Ridiculousness. Now, the one thing I do love about this is they finally get someone with way more rim pressure on this team, right? Fox loves to attack and get to the midi. So I think that him and Wemby are going to work way more. And I hope that, again, when I talked about Wemby in my video a couple of weeks ago, that was something I'd always mentioned. I hope that he becomes more aggressive and gets downhill. Because once he does that, I just think he's genuinely unstoppable at that point. I don't know who on earth is going to guard that. But I like that, so, Fox can be that in-between guy. I hope he sort of, again, I think Chris Paul now is a certified sixth man. It's probably be Fox, Castle, Wemby, Vassell, and Sochan. Maybe Harrison Barnes. I think either way, right, the Spurs won this trade. I don't even think it's close. They basically gave up 0 to no real assets. The ones they do give up in 2027, as long as Fox and Wemby are healthy, that pick is going to be not that good. Now, unless Minnesota just blows it up by 2031, then, maybe the Kings get an absolute, masterclass in, forecasting. But again, I think the Spurs basically helped commit with Wemby and not let, them have to hope and keep praying on the lottery to help them out and to bail them out, quite frankly. And again, the one thing I don't like, Fox isn't really that good of a shooter, right? I don't think he's not been very good considering his volume. However, I think that now the Spurs can actually, again, now they compete in the play-in. And God forbid they beat the Kings, because I can definitely see that happening if it's Wemby and Fox. Oh boy, Twitter's going to go crazy. Yeah, it's going to be insane what happens if they beat them in the play-in. I think, again, this trade is far less crazy than, obviously, the Luka trade. But for me, it's way more irritating just because I don't understand what in the hell the Bulls are doing. We're giving up, again, an all-star caliber, guy for basically all first-round pick and a bunch of guys that won't last on our team within the next season or two. And again, at what point do we know how to handle our assets? I don't think we ever will. So again, guys, this was Antonio Soups. Let me know what you guys think down below. Again, the Bulls just, they always find a way. They always find a way.